Have you ever wondered why, after switching to healthy eating, gradually cutting out red meat and increasing the amount of fish in your diet, you still feel utterly exhausted, your joints creak, and your mind remains foggy? According to a joint WHO report and the FDA's 2023 Seafood Monitoring Program, over 30% of Americans over 60 are inadvertently consuming fish species with mercury levels many times above safety limits. In other words, we think we're protecting our hearts, but we're quietly poisoning our own brains and blood vessels. The irony is that the more carefully you choose white, lean fish or those rich in omega-3, the more dizzy you feel when you stand up, the more persistent your headaches become, your memory declines, and your blood pressure swings unpredictably. You've followed the advice to eat fish twice a week, yet the results still fall short of your expectations. Perhaps the problem isn't your age, but the very fish you're eating every day. In today's video, from my years of experience as a geriatrician, I'll name 5 common fish species that are quietly destroying the nervous system, liver, kidneys, and joints of older adults. I'll explain in detail how methylmercury breaches the blood-brain barrier, why residual antibiotics in farmed fish trigger joint inflammation, and most importantly, I'll suggest safe, DHA-rich alternatives that naturally carry fewer toxins, so you can still enjoy seafood without trading away your health. If you're eating fish to stay youthful but feel yourself aging by the day, stay tuned until the very end. Because a single, well-placed swap could save your liver, keep your hands strong, and protect your memory in the years ahead. Hit subscribe on the Healthy Vitality channel so you never miss a health tip, and share this video with your loved ones and friends, because you might just save them from a steep decline in their golden years. 1. King mackerel. If you still believe that a golden grilled mackerel dinner on the weekend is a cardiovascular lifesaver, it's time to take a closer look at the fish on your grill. King mackerel, often labeled king mackerel in seafood cases, is renowned for its rich, oily flesh and high omega-3 content, but it also ranks among the marine species with the highest methylmercury levels today. U.S. FDA data record an average concentration exceeding 0.7 parts per million, many times above the safety threshold for older adults. Unlike inorganic mercury, methylmercury tightly binds to proteins, easily crosses the blood-brain barrier, and quietly accumulates in the hippocampus, the brain region responsible for memory formation and balance coordination. Over time, this toxin disrupts neural signaling, causing neurons to atrophy. The result is fading short-term memory, a faint tremor when pouring water, and unsteadiness when standing or sitting. In younger individuals, healthy liver and kidney enzyme reserves can sometimes detoxify and eliminate small amounts of methylmercury. But after age 60, the liver's volume and blood flow decline, and cytochrome P450 enzyme activity wanes, allowing heavy metals to linger and do deeper damage. Meanwhile, cerebral blood vessels lose elasticity, and the blood-brain barrier weakens, making it easier for toxins to penetrate into memory centers instead of being blocked. That's why, after eating the same portion of king mackerel, a younger person may feel only slight fatigue, whereas an older adult may suffer sleepless nights, headaches, and forgetfulness for days. The good news is you don't have to give up mackerel entirely. Within the same Scomberty family, Atlantic mackerel retains full EPA and DHA levels while rarely exceeding 0.5 ppm mercury. Look for fresh cuts with clear eyes and bright red gills. Then steam or grill at 180 degrees C just until cooked through. This preserves omega-3s and avoids forming age compounds that trigger systemic inflammation when fish is overcharred. Before cooking, simply brush on a thin layer of olive oil, sprinkle with ginger strips and a few sprigs of dill. Ginger neutralizes fishy odors, and dill supports the liver's detox functions. Serving it alongside steamed vegetables or an avocado, kale salad adds antioxidants that help speed your body's detox process. Over time, you can still savor that aromatic fillet without worrying about your memories being silently mined by heavy metals. a small swap with big benefits for both your brain and your heart. 2. Tilefish. If you see white fish on the seafood menu described as having tender, sweet white flesh with few bones, don't order it before making sure it's not tilefish caught in the Gulf of Mexico. Few people realize this species ranks among the highest for mercury content. FDA reports record samples reaching 145 ppm, over 20 times the safe recommendation for older adults. Organic mercury from polluted seawater accumulates layer by layer in the fish's flesh. Once in the body, it travels through the blood to peripheral nerves, causing sensory signals to flicker. At first, you only notice a tingling in your fingertips when buttoning a shirt, then a pinprick sensation in your calf, and a loss of rhythm when stepping down. Small signs, but warnings that your nerves are running slow from toxicity. After age 60, nerve cell regeneration is already slow. Combined with reduced liver detox capacity, the toxin lingers longer, damaging the myelin sheath around nerve fibers, leading to hand tremors, dizziness, and even prolonged balance loss. The problem is tilefish looks very similar to other white fish like cod or haddock, and restaurants often advertise it simply as grilled white fish or catch of the day, making visual identification impossible. The first rule to protect your nervous system is to ask for the source. If it's tilefish from the Gulf of Mexico, an area with a history of oil industry and heavy metal discharges, say no thanks. Tilefish from the North Atlantic have much lower mercury levels thanks to cold currents and distance from industrial zones. But for those over 60, it's safest to choose alternatives: Alaska cod or New England haddock. These two species contain only about 0.1 ppm mercury and are rich in lean protein, vitamin B12, and selenium, a mineral that helps the body lock away heavy metal toxicity. Once you've secured a safe fillet, preparation is also key. Prioritize quick steaming or foil-wrapped baking at 180 degrees C for 10-12 minutes. Drizzle with a little olive oil, sprinkle with dill seed, and add a few lemon slices. Dill supports liver enzyme activity, while lemon provides vitamin C to preserve collagen structure in vessel walls, reducing post-meal inflammation after a protein-rich dish. Avoid deep frying, as high heat forms age compounds that promote joint inflammation and atherosclerosis. Also refrain from oversalting, as excess sodium draws water into the vascular space, causing leg swelling, a common issue for older adults. One small tip: if you must dine out and only see white fish listed, choose a preparation garnished with sesame seeds, almonds, or served alongside sulfur-rich greens like broccoli. The plant compounds in these help the liver eliminate heavy metals. After your meal, drink 300 ml of water and take a 10-minute walk to boost circulation. With this vigilance, you can still enjoy the sweetness of ocean fish without trading it for shaky hands or sudden dizzy spells. Because when you choose wisely, food is an ally, not a hidden neurotoxin assassin. 3. Swordfish. Swordfish was once regarded as an offshore delicacy for its thick, buttery flesh and robust flavor. But for those over 60, that enticing steak can become a nightmare for both brain and gut. The primary reason lies in swordfish's inherently high mercury content. As a top predator, it accumulates heavy metals over many years, driving methylmercury levels in every 100 g of flesh far above the FDA's safety threshold. When an older adult eats a palm-sized portion, mercury easily crosses the blood-brain barrier and binds to neurons in the hippocampus, the center of memory and spatial orientation. The result is not a dramatic acute poisoning, but a silent decline, waking one morning unable to recall where you left your keys, and by afternoon feeling mentally foggy, forgetting words mid-sentence. At the same time, the dense fat in swordfish, high in cholesterol and prone to oxidation, places an extra burden on an aging stomach that produces fewer digestive enzymes. After dinner, many report sluggish digestion, prolonged heartburn, and gas bubbling up to the chest that disrupts sleep, leaving them too uncomfortable to eat breakfast the next day. This double threat becomes even clearer if you are taking heart or diabetes medications. Your liver must process both the drug and oxidized fat, while your kidneys work to filter out heavy metals. Two detox organs quickly overwhelmed, leading to mild ankle swelling, persistent fatigue, and dulling of the skin's tone. Rather than subjecting your body to that endurance test, switch to wild Alaskan salmon or naturally caught sardines. These species inhabit cold waters and have short lifespans, so they are virtually mercury-free. Sardines in particular contain soft bones rich in calcium, which supports bone density that declines after age 60. Both salmon and sardines are also high in DHA, an omega-3 fatty acid that nourishes the myelin sheath of nerve fibers, slowing cognitive decline, and their unsaturated fat structure makes them easier to digest. Preparation should be gentle to preserve benefits without creating new toxins. Bake in foil at 180 degrees C for 12 minutes or steam with a few slices of ginger and sprigs of dill. Ginger stimulates stomach enzyme secretion. Dill supports hepatic fat metabolism. Together they mask any fishy odor and prevent the formation of pro-inflammatory advanced glycation end products, AGEs. For a flavor change, try a chilled sardine salad tossed with olive oil, lemon, and parsley. No reheating needed, so your omega-3s stay unoxidized. Seniors should stick to palm-sized portions, about 90-100 g, no more than 2 to 3 oily fish meals per week. And remember to alternate with dark leafy greens, green tea, or vitamin C, rich fruits to boost heavy metal excretion. By replacing rich but toxic swordfish with salmon or sardines, you not only keep your memory sharp, but also spare your stomach, liver, and joints, the 3 vital links that determine quality of life after 60. 4. Farmed salmon. You often hear that salmon is good for the heart and the brain. Eat it 3 times a week for all the nutrients you need. Yet most of the glistening orange-pink fillets in U.S. supermarkets come from intensive Atlantic coast aquaculture, and that superfood meal may actually be betraying the immune system, joints, and gut of older adults. The problem lies in cramped sea cages and formula feeds. To accelerate growth, producers use GMO soy meal, cheap fish scraps, added prophylactic antibiotics, and synthetic astaxanthin dye for a vivid orange hue. As a result, the omega-6 fat content in 100 g of farmed salmon can be 3 to 4 times higher than in wild salmon. With knee cartilage already worn and blood vessels losing elasticity after 60, that influx of omega-6 fuels chronic inflammation. Mornings wake with stiff fingers, heavy knees, slightly swollen ankles, and blood pressure that won't settle. It doesn't end there. Residual antibiotics and antiparasitics clinging to the flesh can disrupt the gut's beneficial bacteria, the peacekeepers that regulate immunity and synthesize B vitamins. When those bacteria decline, older adults experience bloating, poor nutrient absorption, dry skin, restless sleep, and anxiety. A study in microbiome found that after 8 weeks of eating 200 g of farmed salmon daily, participants showed a marked drop in lactobacillus and bifidobacterium and a rise in the inflammatory marker CRP. For those on blood thinners or antihypertensives, this inflammation fluctuation makes dose management even harder, prolonging fatigue. The safe alternative is wild-caught Alaskan salmon, labeled wild-caught, or by species, sockeye, coho, or pink salmon. These fish grow in cold, plankton-rich waters and feed on natural forage, giving them an omega-3 to omega-6 ratio of nearly 4:1, exactly the opposite of farmed salmon. Their flesh is firm, lean, with a clean, briny flavor rather than oily, and the marbling is fine with a deep red color, not uniform orange. For preparation, seniors should steam or dry pan sear. Lightly season with mineral salt, sprinkle dill, minced ginger, and lemon zest. Then steam for 10 minutes or pan sear 2-3 minutes per side over medium heat. This preserves DHA and EPA, key nutrients for neuronal membranes, without forming pro-inflammatory AGEs as in deep frying, and avoids fat oxidation from repeated reheating in the microwave. The skin is rich in collagen and zinc, Place it skin side down in the pan until crisp and eat right away for joint support. Salmon still deserves a place at the over 60 table, but only when you choose ocean-grown adults, not fattened juveniles in pens. From now on, read labels carefully, cut back on cheap farmed salmon, swap it out for bona fide wild-caught fillets, and cook gently. A single change, looking for wild-caught, is enough to restore a truly anti-inflammatory meal, protecting your joints, gut, and the clarity of your mind in the long run. 5. Shark. You might think that shark meat, white, boneless, and richly flavored, is harmless to enjoy occasionally, but behind that fillet lies a mine of toxins quietly eroding the body, especially dangerous once we have passed age 60. Sharks live very long, traverse many water layers, and prey at the top of the food chain, so each individual gradually accumulates organic mercury, methylmercury, urea, and many other pollutants in its flesh and liver. According to the FDA's seafood monitoring data, methylmercury levels in some shark species can exceed 1 part per million, 10 times higher than the safe limit recommended for older adults. When we consume it, this compound slips through the intestinal wall, travels by blood straight to the liver and kidneys for filtration. The problem is that after 60, blood flow to the liver decreases, the cytochrome P450 detox enzymes slow down, and the kidneys are already taxed, processing blood pressure medications, diabetes drugs, and painkillers. Faced with additional mercury, the kidneys' microvessels swell, filtration falters, toxins recirculate. The liver suffers chronic low-grade inflammation, elevated enzymes, fatty change, leaving older adults perpetually fatigued, indigestion-prone, memory-fogged, hands trembling slightly, and skin inexplicably dry and thickened. To avoid falling into that mercury trap, the simplest solution is to remove shark from your shopping list and menu. Still want a protein-rich, omega-3 packed meal without the toxin burden? Switch to wild pink salmon or sockeye from Alaska. These two species have short lifespans, grow in clean, cold currents, occupy a low place in the food chain, and thus remain virtually mercury-free while providing an ideal DHA-EPA fatty acid ratio for heart and brain health. Their pale pink flesh with sparse marbling tastes cleanly of the sea rather than heavy oil and is far easier to digest than shark. Simply thaw slowly in the refrigerator, season lightly with mineral salt, black pepper, and a sprig of rosemary, then steam or bake at moderate heat for 12-15 minutes. The fish will be perfectly cooked, sweet, with crisp skin and no charring to form pro-inflammatory agents. Serve with leafy greens and a sprinkling of walnuts to add fiber and vitamin E, lightening the liver's and kidneys' detox load. A small but useful rule: whenever you see a top predator, shark, swordfish, pufferfish, king mackerel, older adults should avoid it completely. Instead, prioritize short-lived, offshore species like wild salmon, herring, sardines, or cod, getting omega-3 without mercury risk. One smart choice at the seafood counter today can protect your kidneys, liver, and memory for years to come. We've just unveiled the red list of 5 toxic stars that must be removed from the 60-plus menu. King mackerel, methylmercury levels high enough to degrade the hippocampus. Tilefish, heavy metals accumulation causing numbness in hands and feet, balance disorders. Swordfish, oily flesh plus toxins that overwork the stomach and liver. Farmed salmon, high in omega-6 and antibiotic residues, triggering systemic joint inflammation. And finally shark, a mercury trap that accelerates liver and kidney aging. From these 5 names, the takeaway is clear. Eating the right fish is just as important as the general advice to eat fish. As we age and our detoxification and digestion slow, prioritize small, short-lived species caught wild in cold waters. Wild Alaska, salmon, herring, sardines, cod, or Atlantic mackerel. When shopping, make a habit of reading the wild-caught label carefully, checking the FDA Mercury Guide, asking your fishmonger about the catch source, and steering clear of restaurant menus that list generic white fish or catch of the day without specifying the species. Now it's time to act. Right after this video, Open your fridge and pull out every seafood package to check the species and catch area. Anything on the red list should be discarded or passed along to someone younger and healthier. Then, send the video link to your parents, aunts and uncles, or friends who have been faithfully eating fish for their hearts, but haven't yet learned about mercury's dark side. You might just rescue them from unexplained hand tremors and morning brain fog. And don't forget to subscribe. Every week we deliver detailed nutrition maps to help you live healthy, live clear-headed, and live more carefree. Because life after 60 deserves freedom, not a guessing game about toxins in every meal.